There's this thing called African diaspora. You don't know what that is? It's a worldwide collection of communities descended from native Africans that exist outside of Africa. Now, they have this for other races and cultures, but today we are looking at the African diaspora. Diaspora is a fancy term for just living outside your cultural or racial homeland. To put it plainly, we're doing the blackest countries outside of Africa. This is a video that's been requested by a few subscribers ever since we started doing our series on the different races. I didn't know this till recently, but we have a good size audience in Africa. Zanzibar, to be exact. That's in Tanzania. I was watching a video by a YouTuber named Drew Binsky, and he was in Zanzibar. Interesting fact about there, I did not know this. Freddie Mercury was born and raised in Zanzibar, in a neighborhood called Stone Town. Anyway, so I got an email from a Zanzibar local named Ibrahim. He said he and a lot of his friends plan on getting out of Tanzania when they get out of school. And it'd be nice to know where there are other Africans or black people. He also seems to think that if I give him a shout out, it'll help him get a girlfriend. I'm not sure how, but he seems to think it'll work. So good luck, Ibrahim. Today we're looking at the countries with the largest black populations outside of Africa. Got it? Get it? Good. Let's take a look. Number 10, Mexico. I never would have thought this one would show up on this list. Don't know why. I've been to Mexico many times, and the only African American or black people I've ever seen there, or African people, are tourists just enjoying the beaches. I've never actually seen any living there. That's just me. I haven't, gone door to door and checked out the whole country, but that's just my experience from visiting Mexico. A majority of the black residents in Mexico you will find at the southern end, down near Puebla, Veracruz, and Guerrero. Mexico has a population of 126 million residents, with 1.4 being of African descent, or just black, however you want to look at it. Number 9, the United Kingdom. Yeah, this one doesn't surprise me at all. Black British people are a multi-ethnic group of British citizens of either African or Afro-Caribbean descent. Now, they're sort of the same thing. They're different. Don't give me a hard time. We're talking about where their descendants come from, and Afro-Caribbean's descendants come from Africa. The United Kingdom has a population of just over 67 million residents, with 2.5 being African or Afro-Caribbean. The majority of the black population in the United Kingdom lives around the London area. Number 8, Jamaica. This should be no surprise to anyone, especially if you've ever been to Jamaica or, watched a Bob Marley video. If you actually look at the demographics of Jamaica and not, the demographics of a Bob Marley video, you would find out that 92.1% of the Jamaican population is either black or black mixed. Jamaica is a beautiful island. The people are great. Now, if you go there as a tourist, let's say to a resort, right outside the resort, you're not going to find it to be anything but people trying to scam you. But if you get past all that garbage and actually into the country, they got some amazing places and amazing people. Yeah, definitely don't judge Jamaica by what's going on right outside of a resort. The population of Jamaica is estimated to be right around 3 million residents, with 2.8 million being African or Afro-Caribbean. Where you'll find the most black or African residents in Jamaica is the entire island of Jamaica. Number 7, Venezuela. This one's not really a surprise. I've been to Venezuela, and yeah, I could definitely see this one making the top 10. In Venezuela, they are called Afro-Venezuelans, and like so many places, they didn't come to Venezuela willingly. Between 1576 and 1810, about 100,000 African slaves were transported across the Atlantic to Venezuela via the transatlantic slave trade. The different African and Afro-Caribbean communities, you're going to find those in Caracas and the surrounding area, and then down towards the western side of the country, like between Merida and San Cristobal, that's where you'll find a whole bunch more. Venezuela has a population of about 28 million residents, with 3.2 million being African or Afro-Caribbean. Number 6, France. This one I was a little surprised at. Obviously, you're going to find more with a higher ratio than places like France, but they definitely have a good-sized community, and a lot of that has to do with, obviously, the slave trade played a big part of that back in the day. And then, of course, when they had all their colonies and stuff, a lot of them were in Africa. At one point, they owned about a third of Africa. Most of the northwest of Africa had a lot to do with the French. In the 1950s, Morocco gained independence, along with Algeria. Then In the 1960s, Senegal, Cameroon, the Congo, and Madagascar all became independent. And the last one was Djibouti, and that was in 1977. So it wasn't that long ago that France played a big role in Africa. France has a population of about 68 million residents, with an African or Black population of 3.8 million. The largest communities you'll find in Lyon and Paris. Number 5, Colombia. Colombia shares a lot of the same history that Venezuela does when it comes to their Afro-Colombian and Afro-Caribbean population. Back in the early 1500s, African slaves from Cameroon, Nigeria, Ghana, and the Congo showed up in Colombia. Colombia was having a problem. Their ranches and their plantations and their gold mines had been worked by the local indigenous population, but they were becoming scarce. So in the early 1500s, they were in need of some new forced labor. These days, you'll find large African communities in Medellin, Bogota, Cali, basically all the big cities. Colombia has a population of about 52 million residents, and of that, 4.9 are of African descent. Number 4, the Dominican Republic. If you didn't know that the DR would show up on this list, you need to take a world geography class and a social geography class while you're at it. I actually think everyone should take those classes. I took quite a few when I was in college. Afro-Dominicans showed up in the Dominican Republic back when it was called Santo Domingo, and it really wasn't long after Columbus actually landed around here. He obviously showed up around 1492, and they started bringing slaves, just like Venezuela and Colombia, into Santo Domingo around 1525. One thing leads to another, and you have a large Afro-Dominican population. The Dominican Republic these days has a population of about 11 million residents, a little bit over, and of that, 9.2 million are Afro-Dominicans or of African descent, however you want to call it. And where you'll find most of these? The entire country. Number 3, Haiti. Yep, the Dominican Republic's next door neighbor, Haiti, where they're both on the same island of Hispaniola. Pretty much everything I just said about the Dominican Republic goes for Haiti, other than the name of the place and the numbers. If you're thinking about visiting Haiti, don't. This is like the #1 place to get kidnapped on the planet. I mentioned that in a video probably like 6 months ago. We did a whole thing on where you can get kidnapped and all that. Haiti was #1. There were people that actually tried to dispute that. There were people in that chat claiming to be from Haiti and suggesting nobody shows up there because it's dangerous. You go to Haiti, there's only a few things that are going to happen. Someone's going to steal all your stuff, someone's going to steal you and demand money, another earthquake may happen, or they'll get hit by a hurricane while you're there. But a lot of the citizens in Haiti can trace their heritage back to Angola, Sierra Leone, Senegal, Nigeria, Cameroon, and Ghana. Haiti has a population of a little over 11 million residents, with 10.1 being Afro-Haitian. Number 2, the United States of America, or the United States. How do you say it? Do you throw the America on there, or you just say the United States? It's one of those things on the internet. If you just call it the United States, someone's going to correct you. It's the United States of America. And if you say the United States of America, people yell, why do you say that? Why don't you just say United States? It's strange. Just goes to show you, no matter what you do on the internet, someone's going to have a problem with it. If you live in the United States and went to one of our fine learning establishments, you already know that the African Americans showed up here unwillingly. Yes, they were part of the transatlantic slave trade. That was the old days. In the early 20th century, more and more Africans made their way to the United States willingly, settled in communities all across the United States, bought homes, raised kids, living the American dream. The United States has a population of about 332 million residents. Of that, almost 56 million are Black or African American. And if you don't already know, a majority of the Black communities in the United States are in the Deep South, which would be Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, South Carolina, and in a lot of the cities. The bigger cities, especially Los Angeles, Chicago, Detroit, New York City, the list goes on. All right, before we get to number 1, if you've made it this far, you've probably enjoyed the video. If you want to help out this channel, enjoy another one of the suggested ones at the end. That's a big thing for YouTube channels. They want to see if you click another video after you watched one. So if you would, please watch another video that's suggested like in the last 10 seconds. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, Brazil. Brazil, just like Colombia and Venezuela, the United States, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic, saw their African communities start because of slavery. For the most part, the Portuguese are the ones that brought slaves from Africa to Brazil in the 1550s. In total, it's estimated they brought over 5 million enslaved people from the Congo, Angola, Nigeria, Ghana, and Mozambique. It wasn't until the 1880s that they outlawed slavery in Brazil. So there weren't many of them living in Brazil that had come from Africa. They were born and raised in Brazil. So many of these enslaved people just settled in Brazil, the only home they'd really known. Brazil is huge. It's the 5th largest country on the planet, and you will find the black population in every corner of this country, maybe not in the Amazon, which takes up a good portion of Brazil. How big is the Amazon? They estimate there's somewhere around 60 to 70 uncontacted indigenous tribes in Brazil, meaning there's people that live so far into that jungle that they've never had contact with modern societies. Saw a documentary where 2 of them came wandering out of the jungle at one point because their fire went out and they didn't know how to get it going again. They had had fire and they'd kept the same fire going for 18 years and it went out and they couldn't get it going again, so they needed some help. But back to the African population of Brazil. Like I said, you will find them in every corner of Brazil other than the Amazon. Brazil has a population of about 215 million residents. Of that, about 56 million are of African descent. All right, that's today's video. Everyone have a great day. Be nice to each other.